Good morning. I'm Nico Suárez, tech support and training support for Roland AV for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And I'm very happy to be today in Lisbon, in Bazar do Video. And we're gonna introduce you one of our two latest products. One of them is the V-60HD, which is a video switcher. And the other one we are going to introduce you is the XS1 HD, which is a matrix, but it can do a lot of more things than just a matrix switching. Okay, so stay with us and let's see these two products. Here we are with the V-60HD. The first thing we want to show you is all the connectivity, all the things you can connect on the back panel. Okay, so first we will have 4 SDI connectors, so you will be able to connect up to 4 SDI sources, can be cameras or can be players, okay? But these 4 SDI inputs, they have to have the same resolution. In other words, they don't feature any scalers, okay? So through the menu, you will set the mixer in 720p, 1080i or 1080p. The one you select is the one these 4 SDIs will work. In the same way, these 4 SDI input, the same thing will happen on these 2 SDI outputs, okay? So let's say that these 4 inputs and these 2 outputs, they will work in one resolution. And the resolution that it will work, it will be the one that you select on the mixer, and can be 720p, 1080i or 1080p. On the other hand, we have 2 HDMI here, and these 2 HDMI, they have a scaler. So this means that they can work in a different resolution. So it doesn't matter if we are working here on a 720p, we will be able to work here on different resolution, even in different aspect ratios, different frame rates and everything, okay? If we continue, the input number 6 is HDMI and also VGA. So if we have an old computer we want to connect, we will be able. Just one of these 2 will work at the same time. So it can be input number 6 can be HDMI or it can be VGA. And if we continue to the outputs, you have 2 HDMI outputs that they will work on the same resolution that the SDIs, okay? And also you have a Multiviewer output. On top of that, we have a USB connector. We have a USB connector here, okay? Where we will be able to load up to 2 still images, okay, that they will be ready to mix with the rest of the inputs and the outputs. That's for the video. Regarding the audio, we have 4 XLR combo connectors, okay, so we will be able to connect up to 4 microphones with phantom power. Also, we can connect some line video devices like a CD player, for example. We can connect it on this RCA. And we can go to speakers or recorders using these audio outputs. The V-60HD will be able to mix video, will be able to mix audio, not just the analog audio. They will be able to de-embed the audio coming from the video sources in order to mix it with the analog ones and embed it on the SDI HDMI outputs or take it out on the analog outputs. So that's all the outputs for video and the inputs and outputs for audio. Also, we have a line control here, okay, that will be able to connect to a router or to a computer to have external software to control. And also, we have GP inputs and outputs here to do just a traditional tally, okay? Also, if you're working on an environment like integration, or you want to integrate this mixer on a venue where a lot of things have to be triggered, or an external controller on a wall will be used, you can control the internal parameters of the mixer just using the RS-232, okay? So this is all the back panel of the V-60HD. Let's see now how we work with it. So I'm gonna show you now the workflow around the V-60HD. For that, for the demo, the first thing I want to show you is the Multiviewer, okay? So on the Multiviewer, we will see at the same time all the sources we have to play. For the example we will have here today, we have 2 SDI cameras, okay, that you can see them here. We have 2, we can connect another 2 SDI cameras, but we are not using it today, okay? And also we are using one computer through HDMI on input 5, okay? And another HDMI camera, which is the camera I have here on my left, okay? So as you see, we are mixing SDI cameras with HDMI cameras and computers without problem, okay? Actually, the cameras, if you can see the cameras, they have also a VU meter, okay? All the inputs, they have a VU meter, so if you're gonna use the microphones on the cameras, or if you're gonna use the audio from the laptop, we can check the audio coming from the sources in the multiviewer, okay? On top of that, for the sample we're gonna do today, I have another 2 fixed images, okay? These are still images. I load them through the USB on the back I showed you before, okay? So I have 2 images on a BMP format, so it's a bitmap format. I load them. We are working in 1080p, so I set a size of 1080 920 logo file, and then I load it into channels 7 and 8. So this is all the sources we have to play together. The basic use of the mixer is like this. When you see here the red button, means that that's going to be on program, that is here on the right side. And green is preview, so is the next thing we're gonna show. By using the T-bar, what we do is we mix between program and preview, okay, very easily. There are many ways to do this change between program and preview, and we can do that. We can change the way we do it with these buttons here, okay? Now we have a mix here, as you see, okay? But also we can use a wipe. So for example, now we are doing an horizontal wipe. Or we have wipe 2. This is a vertical wipe, okay? Through the menus, I can change the way, the kind of barrel, the kind of mix I do to between the kind of wipe we are gonna use to switch between the 2 sources. Okay, let's just stay in mix. Also, if we don't want to apply the T-bar, another option we have is to use the auto button, okay? With the auto button, this other knob tell us how much time we want to take the console to switch between the 2 sources, okay? So for example, if I select, I leave the knob here and now I take auto, it changes slowly, okay? I can go all the way to 4 seconds, for example, and let's gonna make a very long switching, okay? So now that's gonna take 4 seconds to change, okay? If I am working with this auto function with a slow times, okay, but suddenly I need to go very straight, very quick to one of the sources, I have a cut button next to it. So I can just cut and for a moment just do a very straight change, okay? Cut, cut, and then slow change, okay? So I can have the 2 sources. Okay, more things we have on the console. We have an auxiliary bus, okay? This auxiliary bus is meant to be used, for example, imagine that you are doing, for example, a theater application on a theater show. And normally on the theaters, they need you to have a TV outside the theater so people see what's going on and they see if they can come in or not. So that's a use we can do with the auxiliary button, and you can change the auxiliary here. If you see on the multiviewer, on the top corner of the inputs, there is an aux symbol, okay? So now if I change to number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the image, the input I'm sending to the auxiliary bus, okay? So I can select a different remote location for any display. Good. Let's talk now about composition and DSK, okay? So the V-60HD has one picture-in-picture. So imagine that I'm talking here now, I need to have my computer on a picture-in-picture here, okay? So for that, I'm gonna select the computer on the preview, okay? And turn on the picture-in-picture function. You can see now on the preview, there is already a window with the input 5, which is the computer. Meanwhile, the background, me, is the main camera, is camera number 2. So we are doing this on the preview. I want to have that on the program. Again, I can use the T-bar So I have now the picture-in-picture. Okay, I can get into more deep control of the picture-in-picture. I can move it, okay, to have it here, to put it in a place I know is not gonna be in front of anything important, okay. But also I can get into the menu. I can get into composition, okay, picture-in-picture 1, and I have all the controls, okay. I can do, for example, a border in color, okay. I can change the color of the border. So I can do all those settings more precise, okay. Good. Let's, and we have one picture-in-picture, but we can memorize 2 different positions, okay. So this is position 2, and this is position 1, okay. So I can have just one picture-in-picture, but I can memorize 2 positions. Okay, another way to work. There is another option. For example, imagine that you're going to do an interview. Is going to be 2 persons talking each other, okay. So for that we have a special setting that is the split function. So on the split function, as you can see, what we do is that we make a split on the screen, and now we have on the left part we have input 1, and on the right part we have input 2, okay. We can change this very easily, okay. So I'm working now on the right part, okay, and here on the top I work on the right part, on the left part, sorry, okay. And again, I can play with these knobs. I can play with the split, so I can move across the sources to see things, okay? So this is very common if you're going to do an interview or just one guy showing a software or something, okay? Good. Let's talk now about the DSK. DSK function is what is going to allow us to make, for example, a logo. Okay, so imagine that we want to have the logo of the company we're working for that day, or you're going to do anything. So for that, we have to go into the menu, let's say DSK, and the first thing we need to tell to the mixer is, okay, which input will be the source of the DSK, so which input is going to be the image you want to have overlay here, okay? So let's take, for example, let's take this big one logo here. So this is input 7. So I come here and I see still background input 7. That's the one I like. Okay, good. And then what kind of DSK you want to do? We have many options. We have green and blue. Okay, so it's a chroma key blue, a chroma key in green, and also we have a luma white and a luma black. In our case, what we want to do is to take out the white and have the camera behind. So we're going to get the Roland logo on top of that. Okay. So perfect. So we have the input and the color we want to take out. So next thing we have to do is press this button here, which is the DSK. Okay. And the logo appears here on top. I can control a little bit of those controls. So for example, I have here the gain, okay, and so to make it better, okay, so this can be the final option for us, okay. So that's all the operation regarding the video. Let's gonna talk a little bit now about the audio, okay. So for the audio, as I showed you before, we have the 4 analog inputs, okay, plus 5 and 6 and for line inputs like CDs or anything. And also we have the audios coming from the HDMIs and the SDIs, okay. So on the menu, I can go into audio input. I can tweak the gains or the EQ of every input, no problem. So I have audio 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. These are the analog inputs on the back. If I continue, I get the audios from the SDIs, the audios from the HDMI, so I get the control of all those, okay? And same thing for the audio outputs, okay? So I can control what's going on the audio outputs. And then we have this audio follow function that we can turn on and off by channel. This function means the following. Imagine that we are doing, for example, a talk show, and we have like 3 persons talking. Each one of them has a microphone and a camera, and so on. So there is a way that if I turn the audio follow function, what it will do is that just the camera I'm watching on the TV is the camera I'm going to listen to. So automatically, the V60HD makes a relation between the video channel and the audio channel, and just the things you see on the screen are the things they're going to listen to. Okay? Good. Very easy. Very simple. Good. And that's all about the operativity of the V60HD. Now we're going to talk about the controlling the V60HD from a computer. Okay? And we're going to also show you the smart tally function. The V60HD has a software. It's called the V60 RCS, Remote Control Software. And what it can be used is to control, for example, all the audio functions, all the mixing audio functions of the V60HD can be done here with faders, and you have a lot more of control. The connection between these 2 units is just a LAN cable, okay, straight LAN cable, or as I am doing now, you can use an access point, okay, or a router, and a standard router. Okay, so now I have this V60HD connected to this router. The computer is connected to the router, and now I can just edit, control remotely what's going on here or in there. I have 2 positions to control. And another feature that if you set up this with a router, another feature we are showing is the smart tally. Okay, so for example, this camera we have connected on HDMI, it's number 6. Okay. So I went into the IP address of the V60HD, and it shows to me a menu where I can pick, okay, this phone is going to be input 6, it's going to be camera 6, okay? So now, that camera, when it's on preview, it shows in green, okay? And when it's going to be in program, it's going to be in red. So every camera operator can have his own phone as tally. So if it's in black, it's not on preview, not on program. Okay, if it turns in green, you have to be ready, because the next one on the program will be you, and then you are in program now. Okay, so this is a wireless way to do tally, and every camera operator, they can use an iPhone, they can use an Android, they can use an iPad, they can use a computer, because it's a web browser, it's a web function, okay? And although if you want to do a standard tally or the traditional tally, you have a GP inputs on the back panel of the V60HD. And that's very much the V60HD. I hope you like it, and if you have any questions, please contact our colleagues in Bazar Video, and they will refer to me, or we will solve them together. Okay? Thank you very much for watching.